Hi, this is Julie from SheltaPod. In this video I'm going to be setting up SheltaPod, but not on a camper van. Quite a few of you have been asking how to set up SheltaPod on different vehicles, so for this video I'm going to be using the Nissan X-Trail. The bag has the instructions sewn in and is also 20% bigger to help when it comes to packing away. Inside the bag there is a rain fly, an inner tent, a front door panel, 2 curtain shades, 3 aluminium poles, 1 horizontal pole, 2 telescopic poles, 2 privacy side panels and a separate rainfly ground sheet. There are some long and short guy lines as well as tent pegs and 4 long webbing straps for over-the-top attachment. Lay out the rainfly as shown and then take the awning attachment edge and attach it to your vehicle in whichever way you need to. Here we are using the Velcro straps. If you're attaching to a camper van, you have a 6mm beading for attaching to the C-channel, but don't forget you also need a Kador strip and figure of 8 for drive away, which are not included. And if you are attaching into a gutter rail, there is a pole sleeve which you can place a pole and butterfly clips into, but please note these are also not included. And you can attach to a flat roofed vehicle using suction clamps, but please note these are also not included with SheltaPod. For over the top attachment, click the webbing straps into both of the buckles and then peg down into the ground on either side of the vehicle. Once you have assembled the long aluminium poles, thread each one into the pole sleeves as demonstrated. I'm now switching to head cam so you can see my view of the process as I thread each pole into the various pole sleeves on SheltaPod. I'm just going to now speed this up so we save a little bit of time. And then this is where we attach each of the poles onto the pole pins, which are located on the base webbing strap. And just make sure that you secure each pin into the pole and just push them up to make sure that they are secure, which will help you when you get to the next stage, which is to pull the fabric of the tent towards you as you push the 3 poles into the pole sleeves. As you do this, you can pull the webbing strap and maneuver the other end under your vehicle wheel, and this gives you something to push against as you start to place the pins into the poles. There's an adjustable strap which you can loosen off, which will help when you start to place each pole into each pin. It doesn't really matter which way around you do this, but just place each one into the pole, and then you can tighten up the webbing strap so that the pins don't pop out of the poles. You then need to move into the centre of SheltaPod and pull on the poles, making sure that the sun canopy is straight and even before you then pull the other poles up. Just check and make sure that the pole nearest the vehicle is straight and fairly upright, because this will make it easier when you come to pegging down SheltaPod. Peg down below the circle window and then move out to the sides, making sure that the fabric is taut as you do so. Insert the telescopic pole into the eyelet on the sun canopy and do it on both sides. Then take the remaining pole, which has a black lever in the middle which allows you to extend the length of the pole, and place it between the 2 telescopic poles. It's important to do this because it provides an apex for the rain to run off. And once that's in place, go into the centre and adjust the horizontal pole until the canopy is taut and then you can adjust the telescopic pole height to whatever you need, but do make sure there is a slight slope. And attach a guy line straight away onto the pole to make sure that a sudden gust of wind doesn't dislodge the fabric, which could cause the pole to fall towards your vehicle. Also, peg out the side panels to give extra vertical support to the pod tent. SheltaPod can also be attached to the rear of the vehicle. Just make sure to extend the telescopic poles so there is plenty of room for the tailgate to lift up, and also line them up with the rear bumper so that they aren't causing an obstruction. You can then store your tables and chairs ready for when you return to your vehicle. To fold the pod tent up to a simple sun canopy, use the long elastic black tiebacks inside the SheltaPod and roll the material up and attach it to the pole sleeve. This will keep the material out of the way and allow you to clip each section back as required. To attach the sunshades to the inside of SheltaPod, use the buckles through the plastic O-rings. There are also hooks which allow you to attach the sunshades to the outside of SheltaPod, which will protect the PVC windows against harsh sunlight. Peg down the inner tent starting at the front and then use the extendable straps at the back and sides. When you come to peg down the inner tent, loosen the webbing strap in the buckle and just make that strap a bit longer. Peg it down into the ground and then tighten it up, but do it gently. Don't tug on it too hard because it can put too much pressure on the area where it's attached to the ground sheet. Then starting at the back, place each buckle through the plastic O-rings on the pole sleeves and work forwards towards the doorway. There is a fabric door and a mesh door, both have zips, and an integrated ground sheet inside. If you don't want to use the inner tent, but you still need to store stuff, we provide a front panel which clips into the doorway and hides your camping gear from prying eyes. When you want to drive away and leave SheltaPod in place, you need to peg out the side panels and insert the front panel to protect your gear inside. You also need to peg out two guy lines on either side of the doorway and run them towards the vehicle, as well as extra guy lines on the telescopic poles. This helps keep the SheltaPod upright when you drive away. You can attach the sun canopy to the telescopic poles, but we recommend that you roll the canopy up and attach above the doorway. There are 3 tiebacks that allow you to do this, and SheltaPod is now secure if it was to suddenly get windy.